How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Muladhara frequency. In whispers we govern, through the elements we obscure. In static we command, in nightmares we pursue. We are earth and air, we are fire and water. We are the remembered, we are the returned. We are the whispers. In silence we thrive, in whispers you fall. United we stand. In esoteric traditions, the 620 to 750 nanometer wavelength of red light is not merely a color, but a spiritual frequency embodying the fundamental energies of existence, the physical world, primal passion, and survival. It is seen as a dense, slow-traveling wavelength that grounds consciousness in the earthly plane, contrasting to the higher frequencies, faster-traveling blue light. Now, the root of all energy is the Muladhara chakra. The primary esoteric meaning of red light is its link to the Muladhara, or root chakra. Located at the base of the spine, this first energy center is the foundation of the entire chakra system. Serving as an anchor to the material world, we've got earthly groundings, which are slow, dense frequencies of red light, which are considered a reflection of our profound connection to Mother Earth. It is associated with the earth element and draws strength and stability from it. Through Foundation for Growth, we have esoteric wisdom teachings of all spiritual progress and personal development depend on a healthy, balanced root chakra. Just as a tree cannot grow without stable roots, a person cannot evolve spiritually without a secure foundation in the physical world. Which is why some people go to great lengths to destabilize, displace, and cause delay and demise in other people's lives, because they are aware of this. With divine purpose and service, in some angel lore, the metaphysical red light ray is led by Archangel Uriel, which is my left hand, the angel of wisdom. Archangel Uriel offers wise service. The ray represents wise service in general, encouraging individuals to act on their wisdom and apply their talents to service those in need. It is practical, grounded application of divine knowledge. With the courage to act, believers may pray for Uriel's help through the red light ray and gain the courage and strength to overcome obstacles and commit wholeheartedly to their service work. We got Mars squaring Jupiter. I'm going to explain this as a mathematical concept, and I'm going to have my girlfriend here bring over my board, and I'm going to write the equation, if you will. This way it's easily interpreted, and you can apply it to your personal omnikinetic formula to create changes in your reality. Through abundance and energy of enthusiasm, to explain the Mars squares Jupiter aspect of the 6th house using mathematical concepts, this requires a drawing of analogy between abstract astrological principles and concrete mathematical ideas. While not a direct one-to-one mapping, this approach can provide a different perspective on the energy dynamics involved. The squaring aspect is a right angle, which is 90 degrees, whereas the concept is, in a birth chart, a square aspect means the planets are approximately 90 degrees apart. This geometric relationship is known in mathematics for creating tension and requiring a resolution to find stability. The analogy here is, imagine a right-angled triangle. Mars and Jupiter are at the two endpoints of the legs, and their combined energy creates the third unstable vector, the hypotenuse. Now, the dynamic tension created by the 90-degree angle compels a force of action, which is Mars, and a force of expansion, which is Jupiter, to find a resolution and a new path forward. It's kind of like forging your own path. This new path is not a simple addition of the two, but a new, larger, more unstable force that must be integrated. Now, with Mars as a vector of force, which is going to be the F function in this equation, the concept of Mars is, in astrology, it is the planet of action, drive, and assertiveness, and energy. In mathematics, a vector is a quantity with both magnitude and direction. An analogy for this can be Mars as represented as a force vector, Fm, with a certain magnitude, strength of will, and a direction, the goal or area of life being pursued. A strong Mars indicates a vector with a large magnitude and clear direction. Now, in the sixth house is relating to daily work and service, which defines the direction of Mars' vector. Now, the vector, FM, is directed towards work, routine, and physical health. Jupiter as an exponential growth function, the concept of Jupiter is the planet of expansion, amplification, and excess. In mathematics, an exponential function is defined by rapid, explosive growth. The analogy here is going to be Jupiter's influence can be modeled, if you want to bring my board over, please. Right over here, dear. So Jupiter as an exponential function is going to be J T equals E K T, whereas K is going to be the constant representing the rate of expansion. This is going to be either direction, karmic or dharmic. When Jupiter influences another planet, it amplifies and accelerates its effects. Hold on, you can't even see that. There we go. Okay. Applying it to Mars, when Jupiter squares Mars, it is not simply adding to Mars' force, it is exponentially multiplying and expanding it. The result is an enormous but exponential force. The force, if the force of Mars is Fm, the expansion of Jupiter makes the resulting force Jupiter times force magnitude. Okay? Which can lead to overconfidence and biting off more than you can chew. Which means we don't want to get ahead of ourselves based off of assumed presumptions or underestimation, because this is where you can make mathematical mistakes and end up in a spiral out of control. The fourth house, the sixth house is an integrated system. The concept here is the sixth house represents a system of daily life, including routines, work, and health mathematically. A system can be described as a set of equations where different variables interact. Now, the input here is going to be an integrated system where the energy in action, which is Mars, and the output is productivity and well-being. The ideal state is a system that runs efficiently. Output equals input, O equals I, okay? And the body is going to be health, which is a well-oiled machine. Squaring aspect, the Mars vector Fm, right here, Mars, is amplified exponentially by Jupiter, as seen here and here, creating a massive unstable input into the sixth house system. Now the input right here is going to be Jupiter times force magnitude. The result is going to be a system in overload. The massive input of force and energy can lead to burnout. The system, which is your body and mind, cannot handle the exponential energy load, leading to a system crash. This is when people draw on other people's energy who contain a very specific bandwidth and frequency energetically according to math and science based on their physiology and biology. Their bodies are natural conductors of said energy because they are hardwired for that. You don't want to plug a 120 amperage wire into a 220 charge and vice versa. It's not gonna connect. One's gonna underpower and the other one's gonna overpower. It's not gonna compute. The math isn't gonna make sense. You're gonna have health issues. Now, when you have a system overload because the outputs and the input don't match, you're going to have amplification of the Mars Fury, which is right here, Mars Fury and magnitude. This is going to manifest as friction within the body and heat, manifesting as inflammatory conditions, respiratory issues, kidney failure. You're going to have liver inflammation. So it's almost as if from this mathematical equation, we potentially have an alcoholic or drug addict to the equation. This is what this is going to manifest in when we're trying to draw on energies, that we aren't hardwired to understand. We're going to have unstable outputs. Again, unstable outputs. Work projects may grow unsustainably large and crash, or the individual may take on too many initiatives and fail due to overextension. It's like when somebody counts their eggs before they hatch, you always end up with an input that supersedes the output, and then you crash and burn quickly. It's like a fall of grace, if you will. Mathematical fall of grace, which is hilarious if it applies to your situation. Okay, that's it for now. Can you erase that then for the next one? Now, the conflict resolution as a function of vectors, the concept is going to be the tension of a square requires resolution. In vector math, this could be the resolution of forces into a resultant vector. The analogy here is the Mars-Jupiter square in the 6th house presents a conflict between assertive duties and drives to work, which is Mars, and the need for expansive opportunity, which is Jupiter. Opportunists, people that, make poor decisions for personal gain. To resolve this, the individual might find a way to integrate the two opposing forces, making allies with your enemy's enemies, and moving forward in a checkmate-like manner, creating a resolution function, a wise application of this energy, such as starting a wellness business or expanding one's services, if you will, involving a new vector that redirects this energy, or focusing function to the initial volatile force to create a more stable and powerful vector. So it's like paying a practitioner to attack somebody who ends up destroying them energetically, and they end up energetically collaborating together to redirect energy elsewhere where it truly belongs to go. Put away probably, padded walls, more than likely. 302, always. Yes. This is what helps channel the chaotic energy into constructive effort. With the Mars opposition Chiron, we have a balancing, assertiveness, and healing. In an interpretive and metaphorical sense, a Mars opposition Chiron can be represented as a quantum equation to illustrate a process of profound inner conflict and resolution. By translating the astrological archetypes into quantum mechanics concepts, the equation reflects the individual's wave function of potential collapsing into a definitive reality when a deep wound is confronted. This framework, however, is speculative and does not represent a mathematical or scientifical valid formula. Now, the elements of the quantum metaphorical equation here, as astrological transits like Mars opposition Chiron, this can metaphorically be understood as an interaction between the quantum level potential, probability, amplitude, of the birth chart and the energetic measurements of the transit. Let's define the variables. You want to bring that back over here? Now, the natal chart here is going to represent the total quantum state or wave function of an individual's birth chart. This represents a superposition of all possible life paths, traits, or potentials. Chiron here is the specific wave function corresponding to the natal Chiron placement. This represents the archetypal potential for wounding, healing, and wisdom. For example, if Chiron is in Aries, this wave function includes a superposition of identity wounds ranging from repressed anger to a sense of self. Now, with Mars, the specific wave function of the transiting Mars, this represents the archetype of action, assertion, and conflict. It is the operator, if you will, that interacts with the natal chart. Now, the O transit, which is the observational operator of the transit, this operator forces a measurement causing a superposition of potentials to collapse into specific tangible events. It's like truly pulling the strings behind the scenes and manifesting a reality where the craziest things can occur. This is why I love omnikinesis. Now, the equation for Mars opposition Chiron. The Mars opposition Chiron event can be metaphorically expressed as the application of the transiting Mars operator of the natal chart wave function, which forces a measurement, which is the O transit, that collapses the state into a specific outcome. Now, our O transit, right here, is we're going to have an operator, which is Mars. And this is going to be the problem. This is going to be multiplied by Chiron. Let's bring that closer so they can see. And this is going to be an eigengate. Is that what I want to say? Eigenstate. Yeah, eigengate. Jesus Christ. Sorry, guys. This is going to be an event that is greater than the O transit. And then we're going to have a repeat of this all over again. So this is what it's going to look like. Here, the dot right here represents the 180 degrees aspect opposition, which creates maximum tension, forcing an external measurement that results in a profound outcome, the eigenstate, right here, or life event. Now, to key quantum astrological principles, this quantum metaphorical equation incorporates several concepts. The superpositions here, before the transit, the Chiron wound exists as a superposition of possibility. That is a superposition of possibility. A field of potential hurt, wisdom, and avoidance. A person's story of the wound, pull that back a little bit, is not fixed but exists in a probabilistic state. Remember, anything thought is a possibility, is a probability, as long as you can oscillate the energies correctly and draw on those energies in your magnetic field and aura, pulling on the angstroms of the elements within the color of the chromodynamic spectrums, pulling in through the rays into your energy. But when you're an actual channeler, one knows how to do these things through pore breathing, and it's a process. You get a specific glow when you can do this too. Now, for example, a person with a Chiron in Aries, I digress, might have a latent potential for both extreme courage and deliberating fear. Now, the measurement and collapsing for the O transit, the Mars opposition acts as a measurement that forces a collapse of this potential. The transit's influence brings the issue to a head, forcing the person to confront the pain directly. It is not a gentle unveiling by any means, but an energetic, sometimes explosive event through Mars. Now, before the measurement, the perceived universe, we'll call it, the individual exists in a superposition of potential outcomes regarding their core wound. During the measurement, the obvious universe, the opposition, the transiting Mars with its aggressive and assertive energies forces an observation. This external pressure, an argument, a confrontation, a challenge. Squid Games. Bring it to reality. Be a dark horse, so always. And reign triumphant. Forces the hidden pain to become and manifest and become undeniable. That is going to be a key word there. Now, afterwards, the expandable universe is going to be the wave function collapses. The potential for healing, anger, and wisdom that was hidden is now a tangible, observable reality. The outcome depends on the individual's consciousness and choices, free will. Now, entanglement coming in here is going to be the superposition of Mars multiplied by the opposition of the superposition of Chiron. During the opposition, the Mars and Chiron wave functions become entangled. Entanglement theory. Awesome. The archetypal energy of Mars, action, war, is instantaneously linked to the core wound of Chiron. This reflects a non-local connection where the current external conflict is inextricably tied to the much older inner wounding. The fight isn't just about current conflict, it's about the deep pain it triggers. Now, interpretation and practice here. By viewing the transit through the quantum lens, the individual is not a passive victim of planetary effects, but an active observer whose consciousness and choices influence the outcome. This is where actual manifestation comes in. You need to understand these pillars to truly manifest the outcomes you want. You can't borrow energy because it always returns. You can't draw into others and perform black magic so you end up cursing yourself, especially if you have no clue what you're doing or who you're doing it to. Okay? Now, choice as an observation. The individual's concise decision-making process and how they choose to react to a conflict is the final observation that shapes the post-collapse state. And that could have tiered top meanings. Non-government related, so don't think I'm threatening the U.S. guys. I'm pro-America. I'm against people that are anti-America, anti-Constitution, anti-life, anti-morality, anti-families, anti-creation. I'm pro-Genesis, pro-life, pro-rights, human rights, procreation, not just sex, actual Genesis. Now, creating an outcome in which we're comfortable with, confronting the painful issue of Chiron with conscious and courage through Mars can lead to a new state of being, one that incorporates the healing and wisdom gained from the experience. The equation, therefore, describes not a deterministic outcome, but the probabilistic mechanics of a spiritual and psychological transformation. It is a formula for understanding how an energetic level trigger can force a deep-seated inner state to reveal itself and be worked with, resulting in profound and lasting change. Now, we have Mars positioned in Libra right now with the lore of fate. And I'm loving that theme lately. The lore of fate for Mars and Libra. The lore that surrounds the divine dualist is not a tale of passive acceptance, but of active, fated struggle. His destiny is woven within three central challenges: the fated choice. The dualist is forever caught in a paradox. He possesses a warrior's instinct for swift, decisive action, yet he is compelled to delay and deliberate, weighing every side of a situation. His fate is sealed in moments of indecision, where he must choose between the easy victory of aggression and the harder one piece of diplomacy, the long route, the righteous path, and that is always the right way to go, because the long way is the most rewarding, even if it's a pain in the ass. I speak from personal experience. His deepest fear is making the wrong choice and upsetting the balance he is sworn to protect, especially if we have blood oaths to observe the progress of humanity, preserving ancient wisdom and continuing on that path forward. We want forward momentum and evolution. We are not digressing or congressing. We are evolving and ascending. Now, the second one is the mirroring partner. The dualist's battles are not fought alone. His most fated encounters involve a partner or an opponent who acts as a mirror to his soul. He is destined to draw into his life those who either challenge his sense of fairness or demand the very action he fears to take. The nature of his fate is revealed in these mirrored relationships, where he learns that the true victory is in collaboration, not conquest. Let's not try to own people. It's better to work with people than try to step on top of people. That approach never worked good for any world leader. And if you're like me and you like to study great leaders throughout history and ancient worlds, you actually learn a lot about military tactics, psychological tactics, methods, and countermeasures and counterintelligence to combat those while pretending to not know anything. That's wonderful. Now, the third is going to be the weapon of kindness, the dualist's sword. Once a tool of brute force is now transformed into an instrument of grace. His ultimate destiny is to learn that the sharpest blade is a well-spoken argument. Linguistically, destroying somebody is always a fair game than physically, because anybody can be physical, but not everybody can be intellectual, especially in a day where people are afraid and ashamed to exude intelligence. Sleepy chicken, perfect example. Seriously? Anyways, I digress. Not that I'm, perfect by any means. I'm just, I'm done pretending to be stupid. That was for a purpose. The strongest defense is a compassionate understanding of his adversary, and the lore teaches that he must wield charm and diplomacy to achieve his ends. For in this realm, kindness is the deadliest weapon of all. This lore of fate for Mars and Libra speaks to the profound inner war, the divine dualist's journey, and a microcosm of every person's struggle to balance their primal desires with their higher ideals. His destiny is to refine his warrior nature, not by abandoning it, but by allying it with justice and cooperation, ultimately proving that true strength lies not in the power to destroy, but in the will to create harmony. I've got Mars 34 coming through as Psalms 34, which is a Hebrew acrostic psalm written by David detailing his personal testimony of being rescued from fear and trouble by God after fiending madness to escape King Saul's rage in the Philistine city of Gath. With Mars 21, this is the 21st spirit of Solomon coming through in the lesser keys of the Solomon, which is Moryx. Benefits of working with Moryx. Instruction in liberal sciences. Moryx is said to make a person very knowing in astronomy and other liberal sciences. This suggests benefits for those pursuing advanced studies or seeking a deeper, more intuitive understanding of academic disciplines. I almost said disciples. Knowledge of herbs and stones. A key benefit is the wisdom he can provide regarding the virtues and magical properties of herbs and precious stones. This is a valuable for those involved in herbalism, alchemy, and talismanic magic. He also bestows familiar spirits. Moryx can grant the practitioner good and wise familiars in occultism. Familiars are spiritual helpers that assist a magician in their work. We have development of insight. Rather than simply providing information, Moryx is believed to awaken and deepen a person's capacity to interpret, think, and perceive information intuitively. This helps a practitioner become a better reader, clearer thinker, and wiser listener. Offers guidance for spiritual growth. Working with Moryx is not for those who seek quick fixes. According to the one account, he favors those whose approach with discipline and willingness to grow, not flattery, inflated egos. Moryx will literally set you up for failure and put you in the tallest tower and knock it the fuck down. He is not for casual interaction. He is not an entity to be trifled with and should be approached with respect and discipline. A flippant or arrogant attitude will not be rewarded with valuable knowledge, but rather set up for failure. It's spiritual suicide, in other words. He will also reveal hidden things and tell of the ownership of stolen goods. So if something was stolen and Moryx comes up, please believe your cover-up is no longer a cover-up, but will be the cover-up of news nationwide. We've got the 21st angel of the Shem HaMepharash. I always mess that word up. Which is Nelchiel, which is the only God. Abilities are fostering a love for literature and poetry, promotes learning and success in studies, provides protection from troublemakers, and helps to destroy the power of evil, spirits, and spells. This angel is ruled by Zadkiel. The associated psalm here is 31:14. It's a declaration of trust and faith in God with different translations reading as follows. But I trusted in thee, O Lord, I said, thou art my God. But I trust in you, O Lord, I say you are my God. The verse emphasizes the believer's reliance on God and the affirmation that God is their personal God, especially in the face of hardship and adversity. That's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you found it entertaining. I'll see you in the next one.